Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? With your host, the unapologetic diva, Dr. G, the girlfriend therapist, Dr. Cortina Lewis, and the networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour. This is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G.
This is Dr. Cortina Lewis, aka the girlfriend therapist.
And yours truly, Shay Walker, the coach of courage.
All right. So what are we sipping on today? What are we sipping on?
Well, to go along with the tonight's topic, we will be sipping on a backstabber sour. So basically, in order to create this drink, you need 2 ounces of bourbon, 3/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, 1/2 ounce of red wine as a floater, and a lemon peel for garnish. So what you're going to do is you're going to shake the bourbon, lemon juice, and simple syrup with ice. You're going to strain it onto the rocks over a glass of fresh ice, and then you're going to gently float the red wine over the top by pouring it on the back of a spoon. So you know how like you've already poured everything else in, you're just going to get a spoon and you're going to let the wine just drape over the spoon as a floater. And then you're going to garnish it with a twist of lemon.
I feel like that will have you feeling one. Wine and bourbon.
Yeah, the symbolism of it is a bright start with the bourbon and the lemon, and then with a dark creeping layer of wine on top. Like sweetness is hiding a secret.
It's suspenseful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I probably shouldn't say that for like a Halloween drink, but it's very appropriate for our topic for tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just like, what in the world? Okay. Good. You know, it's Wednesday. How's your week been thus far?
I don't even know what day it is. I don't know. It seems like all the weeks are running together. I can't wait for it to be Friday at 6:00 in the evening because I'm tired.
Oh, I am hay fevered so bad. Like my nose itch. I'm just, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So it's just nuts. What about you, Shay? How's your week been thus far?
It has been, if I could describe it, the best word I would say is, okay. Oh yeah? Okay. That's the kind of week it's been.
Oh, wow. And it's been a long week. I really feel like I've already worked 5 days this week. And that's kind of how I feel. That, and I'm just having hair drama. I look at my videos and stuff, like even for hair, and I'm like, don't press your hair out anymore because my curls are just like. So I'm having to restore my curl pattern back by not pressing it out. Although I like it pressed. I like it pressed, but now I'm taking a little break and I'm just going to wear my curls until my curls all the way come back. Because I see all my pictures with how curly my hair actually is, and I'm like, I'm ready to have my curls back.
Where are the curls?
Nowhere. Look, nowhere. Nowhere to be found. Yeah, so it's okay though. It's all good. My own hair is betraying me right now, but it's okay. And I tell you, if it was not for the fact that my birthday is coming up and I don't want to have to try to figure out even more how I want to wear my hair, I would do the big chop again and just start over.
Wow.
That's really what I want to do. But I don't know how I want to wear my hair. So I don't want to big chop it and then be like, oh, this is how I wanted to wear my hair.
Get it?
Yeah. So
you'll come up with something, I'm sure. You probably end up getting it braided last minute.
You know what? So I'm gonna tell you, the only thing about it being braided is I feel like I can't just enjoy, I can't enjoy myself because we have a pool, there's the beach.
I want to be able to get in and not worry about it. I mean, and I know people be like, you can get in the water with your hair braided. No, not me. My texture hair, the shit would slide right out. I don't care what kind of braided it would be.
Gotcha.
Nah. As soon as I put conditioner on it, sip, sip. I had micro braids one time, and I washed my hair and conditioned it, and they were all laid at my feet. Yeah. So it's all good. I'm gonna figure it out though. This has gotta it's coming back.
Okay.
So it's coming back. It's just real slow.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna press it.
So I'm curious to get into this topic.
I know. Let's get to talking about it. Like where do you want to start off with this, Shay? Because I already know you. I already know you.
Look, I'm over here like what the people doing now. Yeah, come on through, Cortina. You look. Oh, girl, I'm ready.
So, when it comes to, healing after betrayal, and for tonight, we're not just going to be focusing on romantic relationships, although that may be a lot of what we're talking about. It's about how do you move forward after someone has betrayed your trust, after someone who you thought you could trust, depend on, who you had transparency with, who you had loyalty with, betrays that. What are the feelings that are associated with that? What else comes up for you? How do you work through that? Do you work through it? Do you say, you know what, once it's broken, it's not even worth it. What do? Because if you don't communicate about what the betrayal is, you may be thinking that someone betrayed you when maybe they really didn't, right? Let's just say it's a friendship. And let's say someone said, oh, this person said such and such about you. It's possible that person never said anything about you. But if you just cut them off, no conversation, no nothing, and you're just going by what this third person said, maybe you just cut off somebody who really was being loyal to you, and this other person brought you a lie. So being able to differentiate and decipher between, is this a betrayal in reality, or am I just feeling like it's a betrayal because I'm emotional? And being able to know the difference. And sometimes it's both. In reality, I was betrayed, and I feel like I was betrayed, and my emotions are all over the place. I might feel confusion. I might feel anger. I might feel resentment. I might feel disappointment because I thought I could trust this person, but I'm realizing that I really couldn't. What happens when family betrays you? These are people that I share blood with, right? Just because I share blood with you, that doesn't make you my family. It makes us relatives. And so you're able to pick your family. And so what happens when the people that we thought were the closest to us, that share the blood, that we share the same blood with, when they betray us, what do? Do you cut yourself off? Do you not go around the family anymore? Do you no longer go to the cookouts and the family reunions and the birthday parties and the weddings and the funerals? And what do? Different people do different things. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. So we can start off with relationships, friendships, family. When the job betrays you, is there
a real difference though? Is there a significant distinction, whether it's family, whether it's a friend, whether it's a loved one? Is there because how you feel emotionally when you got a bond with someone? I would feel like it would almost be the same, because I have an emotional tie to this person enough that I trusted them. So I'm just wondering, I'm speaking for me, if I could really differentiate the hurt or the anger between being hurt or being betrayed.
I think it really depends on how it happens as well. Like there's betrayals on different levels, right? You could cheat with a random, and then if you cheat with my best friend or something like that's a double betrayal, because you got two people that have betrayed you, and you're going to be working on this grief and loss of possibly both relationships. You might have some how didn't I see this? Was I dumb? Was I blind? What were there signs there?
Yeah.
So I think there's different levels to betrayal, depending on who and what and how it happens. So those are things that we take into consideration as well. And to be very honest, I know you all know that I do something called trouble tribe therapy, and that's therapy with friends, because sometimes breaking up with a friend can be as devastating, if not more, than a romantic partner. Because especially this person potentially has been with you through 10 different relationships. Kids, y'all done cried on each other's shoulder. They probably know more about you than the person you sleep next to. And so what happens, because they've been with you for years, right? They know when your family died, before you even got this person, how you connected with the person that you with. They probably was like, girl, go talk to him. They probably was an intricate part of all of that. So as long as you can remember having friends and hanging out, and it doesn't mean you speak every day, but just their presence and knowing that they were a part of your life, that can be very challenging. You know, when you know someone for years, they become very interwoven into your family. The kids know them. So sometimes losing a friendship, and I'm not talking about these friends we just pick up willy-nilly, not that, but I'm talking about like a true ride or die friend that was your friend. That can be equally, if not more, devastating and hurtful once that relationship ends. And so, especially if it ends on a betrayal, like, you're gonna be like, we was down like 4 flat tires. Like, how could this person do this to me? Why couldn't they feel like they could come and talk to me? Like, what was it? You know, and so those are things that you want to consider. You know, there's different levels of betrayals when you're on a job. Maybe you were, going after this position, and somebody, you let them know, and then it comes to find out that they ended up applying for the position and they gave it to them. Or I'm going to use an example that I don't know how I would feel about this. I don't know how many of you all watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, but on the reunion when Portia and Shamil, when Portia was like, my mom owned this business, they were selling it. And then come to find out that Shamil's mom went and bought the business from the owner. And that's how they found out that she no longer had the business. Like, from a friend of that many years. Now, I don't know the ins and outs, but that is just what was shared on the show. If you're my friend, you couldn't come tell me you wanted to come by this building that my business was in, and then you put your own business there. That can be very hurtful. That's a betrayal on another level. Because not only did you buy the building that my business was in, I lost my business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different levels and types of betrayals that individuals experience.
Yeah. So Shay, what was it like? You was ready to have this conversation about betrayal. So I know you about to pop on with something juicy.
So, my feelings, I have been betrayed in different scenarios. I openly talk about the relationship with my mom. I've been through a horrible breakup with somebody that, I assumed that this was going to be forever. And then I've also broken up with a friend. We were 32 years in the relationship. So having these different scenarios and thinking about what betrayal actually is, I think betrayal is a reflection of what your boundaries are. The things that you are willing to accept, it's easier to forgive. Some things can catch you by surprise, and you can actually understand why something would have gone the way that it did, and you can be a little bit more lenient there. But then there are some things that are just an absolute no-no. I have some absolute no-nos in my marriage, and I let these boundaries be very plain, written out in plain before even getting in too deep. And we understand that if this boundary is crossed, then this is the thing that could break this down, and so that's something that I know in my heart that I can't come back from, only because I'm such a 360 person. I look at things from a full scope. I go inward first and then I reflect on what's happening around me. And so I'm always looking to discover the why in something. I want to make it make sense. And when I get to the point that it makes sense or it didn't make sense and you just made a choice that you didn't give a damn about how it was going to affect me, then hey, you made a choice. I get to choose how I respond. How I respond is my business. That's the thing I think that happens too when people betray you and you respond to the betrayal. You don't get to dictate what that looks like. You don't get to tell me how to respond. If I cuss you out or slap you or walk away, get quiet, whatever that looks like, you don't get to dictate what my response is going to be. You chose this for me. Now I get to choose how I respond to it. So that's my thought on it right now.
What about you, Pam? Do we give people second chances, and how do we make the decisions on who we give second chances to?
I absolutely do think that people, depending on the case, I do think that sometimes the second time, works. And it doesn't even have to be about betrayal. Sometimes people need room to grow up and understand some things. And so that second chance can be warranted depending on how that separation happened. And so there is not many people I give second chances to. I think it depends on the level of, I would say, disrespect more than betrayal, because if you betray me, then that's a level of disrespect that's immediate disrespect for me. And that's how I'm going to treat that betrayal, is that you disrespected not only just a boundary, but you disrespected something that was meaningful to me. But I do believe that second chances sometimes work, and they work out better, because sometimes you don't know until you have those conversations. You don't know how someone feels until you have those conversations. And if they are raw and honest, especially between friends and friendships that have been going on for a very long time, often what you will find is that there's some underlying things that, underlying feelings that have never been really talked about. Or they might say, well, I felt like you was being disrespectful to me, or you betrayed me, and you don't even know. And so it all goes back to me that sometimes we ourselves don't realize we're that toxic friend until it's brought to us or brought to our attention. And yet we are saying that other people around us might be toxic. And so I even look at when people, they'll say, every year, I'm getting rid of all of these people off my Instagram or my Facebook. I'm getting rid of all of my toxic friends. And I often want to say to those same people, you might be doing them a favor, because until you self-reflect and do some inner work, you might be that toxic friend. And so that's why I believe in second chances, because I feel like if I am a friend, and we should be able to, at least at a minimum, have a very raw and honest conversation. And what transpires after that conversation, I would know how to move. And I'm not really good about remorse. When I let relationships go, I don't let them linger. I don't carry hurt. I believe in the gift of goodbye. I believe in seasons ending. And I didn't always. That's just where I'm at in my life now. I am very matter of fact about my energy, because sometimes until you let things go that's not supposed to be in your aura or in your energy, you will never flourish. And so because of that, I can say what I need to say. And it also does not mean that we have to go back to where we are. I feel like if we can have that honest conversation, sometimes that seasonal friendship of closeness might need to end, but we can remain cordial. So I definitely believe in second chances.
I believe in second chances. And I think it also depends on how they were within the friendship or the relationship during that time. If they had been a little bit shitty throughout the whole thing, probably not, because maybe you had those, you saw some signs. But if it's like totally out of the blue, we have to go back to the drawing board and figure out, how did we get here? I think it's worth having a conversation. Even if I don't think I'm going to give them a second chance, I still think it's worth sometimes having that conversation to see where it goes, because you might learn something in that conversation that you did not know previously that may change your perspective on what it is they did, or maybe the intention or the motive or the rationale behind why they decided to do what they did. And being able to, for you to also be able to take accountability, because maybe you felt like they did something to you, but maybe it was in response to something you did.
Exactly. Yeah.
You will get more information about why they feel the way that they feel, and when we're hearing and listening to people, are we really listening to them without the filter?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because people can be talking to us, but if our mind is already made up, you're really not even listening to them. So what was the point in having a conversation with them anyway, if your mind is already made up? When you're going in to have a conversation, go in with a clear mind and the expectation to seeking clarity, not to tell them how they felt. You can share with them how they made you feel, fine, because your feelings are yours, but with a listening ear to see possibly, am I hearing something that maybe if I came in filtering what they're saying through my own already, you tried me, you playing in my face lens, maybe I might hear something differently.
Yeah. And I think it depends on what it is. I've had a friend before, which I feel like definitely crossed the line, slept with somebody that I previously was dating. And to me, that required no conversation really, other than the fact, like, why? I just wanted to know why. And what was said was, oh, it was an accident. It wasn't meant to happen, but you did it more than once. So at that time, I knew how to deal with that relationship and just sever the ties and let it go, because I could never trust you again. Because I think that's breaking girl code. That's ultimate betrayal for me, regardless of whether, it was a short-term relationship or a long-term relationship. It should not happen. So, especially like you say, Cortina, when you know a lot of intimate details and issues, that when you're talking to that person, and that's how you decide to show up. So to me, that's not really showing up for me. That's showing up for you, and being kind of either inquisitive or so. I don't really know. Because I've never even, I don't want nothing that any of my friends have at all.
I would say I absolutely believe in second chances, but whatever it is that I'm forgiving, whatever offense I'm forgiving, you've shown me what you're capable of. And so forgiveness is the key for me, because once I walk away, I don't ever have to look back. I don't ever have to walk away thinking, oh, I don't want to have any, like you said, no remorse, Pam. So I get to choose, like I said, if there's something that maybe I missed, okay, fine. Maybe it warrants us to be able to try again. But some things just don't even get that kind of play, because again, you've shown me what you're capable of. And once I see what you're capable of, I get to choose. Am I willing to risk continuing to go forward with you, being in my space and sharing certain things, or have I now reevaluated and put myself in a different posture to say, this is limited access. Like you said, I can be cordial, and that's about it. But us having day-to-day or whatever that looks like, that's a no, that's done. And then I was going to say, I do not believe that having sex with somebody is a mistake. It's not an accident. I do not believe that. So when you said, it's an accident, but then once you do it twice or three times, you already made a choice the first time. It's not an accident. And I don't care, inebriated or not, it's not an accident. But anyway.
So let me ask you this, or both you ladies, when you to heal certain relationships, especially long-term ones, do you feel like you need an apology or a level of forgiveness in order to start healing and repairing that relationship? Or does forgiveness not really, somebody apologizing, not really make a difference in terms of that healing phase for you all?
No, there has to be genuine accountability taken. They have to be able to atone for what it is that they did. It can't be like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. There's no accountability in I'm sorry. Like, is there a change behavior? Are you doing what you need to do to make sure that you're not making the same mistake again? If I have some insecurities on my part because that behavior looks kind of familiar, are you ensuring that there is emotional security and safety around your new behavior so there's no seeds of doubt being cast into my mind? Me as the person that's doing the forgiving, I have to make sure I'm not just keep on throwing stuff back up and bringing it back up 1,000 times. Like, if you say you're going to forgive, if you say you're going to work through it, you have to be willing to do your part as well, because nobody don't want to live in purgatory where the only thing they keep hearing is, but you did this. Okay, well, we might as well not even try to be together. We might as well not be friends or anything, because if every time we get into something you're throwing this back up in my face, you're never going to get past it. And nothing I can do is going to be able to redeem myself from you continuing to throw it back in myself. So I think it takes work on both people's parts in order for the relationship, whatever the nature of the relationship is, to be able to move forward.
What about you, Shay?
So there is a sweet spot in forgiveness when it comes to certain things. And this is how I gauge, I guess it's an internal thing. This is how I gauge whether or not the person is actually genuine. You offend me, and whatever the offense is, if I took it so personal and I go through my feelings of angriness, insecurity, whatever that looks like, whatever my process is, my expectation is for you to allow me to process and support me through my process.
Mm-hmm.
Don't defend it. Don't try to protect it. None of that. I need for you to protect me in the process by allowing me to do. Now, here's the difference, though, because a lot of people can take that and feel like they're getting permission to beat up on somebody with what happened. If you've already decided that you're going to stay beyond the offense, you've made a choice right then that you're going to let it go. You don't get to keep bringing it up over and over again. You don't get to do that with somebody and expect them to at some point not defend themselves and start protecting themselves. And so because of that, you give a little, you have to also be open to listening to the person who offended you if you're giving them the opportunity to do so, and hear what needs to be heard. And not, it's like, okay, Pam, you offended me and I'm listening to you and why you say you did it. But then when I'm trying to give you my feedback on how you made me feel, you're angry. You're shielded, you're angry, and you want to defend yourself because you don't like being beat up on, but damn, you put me here. You know what I mean? And so I feel like if people understood more of the process and what it truly takes to get to the sweet spot in forgiveness, then people won't sit in offense for so long, because you don't realize you're holding yourself up in the spirit for real when you are holding on to things. Forgiveness is it's more so for you than the other person, but it's equally for them as well, because when you let them go in the spirit, we can keep this train moving. You know what I mean? So the quicker you are to forgive, the quicker you are to receive.
Yeah, forgiveness means nothing to me. Action does. So,
Yes.
Forgiveness is one thing, I'll accept it, but you can apologize 50,000 times. But if your actions and your behavior and the things that you do and the way that you treat me or the way that you talk to me do not change, then what's the point of, even apologizing? So that's where I stand with that. And I also don't feel like I necessarily need an apology, because you're entitled to how you feel. Your perception is your reality as just as mine. And sometimes it's, I'm going to, depending on what it is, I'm going to respect how it feels, or respect how that person feels, because they have a right to their emotions. So I don't always need an apology, but sometimes it's for me to say, is this relationship worth salvaging without one?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I have, and because I don't always feel like, depending on the situation, that they're really truly apologetic. At least in the times where I've been betrayed, because the level of betrayal, it was just too easy to apologize. So that's where I feel about. That's how I really feel about, for somebody apologizing or needing forgiveness. I don't need forgiveness to heal.
Mhm.
It starts with me and the choices that I make.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It can be, and sometimes we have to also check our own self, because it can be a battle within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to be able to forgive this person, but my mind is telling me, I don't know. Like, should we? It's not like I'm trying to make you live through torture, but there are going to be ups and downs on this healing journey. Some days are going to be good. Some days I'm going to be in my emotions or in my mind or questioning, am I being dumb? Should I forgive them? Are they really deserving? And it's going to be like when you get into maybe tats you're not seeing eye to eye, that's when it's probably going to come up the most. Maybe I should have just left them where they were. Is it really worth it? But you have to remind yourself what initially made me say, I want to give this person a second chance.
I've had to put space in. I've had to either intentionally or unintentionally put space in, where I just have time for me. I'm not going to make phone calls. I'm not going to text. I'm ghosting, because I have to process, certain things. And it was like that. And I've talked about this before. I had to take a step back and process things after my wedding. I cut off a lot of people. I distanced myself from, quite a few people. And it was intentional, because I feel like those relationships would never be the same. I can be cordial with them, but they are no longer the same or treated the same. And so it's just downgrading friendships down to a different level of relationships.
I agree.
And what happens when you downgrade someone's relationship? How do you, based on something that occurred, where maybe I was able to forgive them, but they can't hold the same space in my life? How do you communicate that to them?
I don't owe them an explanation for that. I don't. They didn't ask my permission when they were doing what they were doing. They chose to do it. I can choose to do me. And that might seem a little bit selfish, but if they ever wanted to have a conversation, because when I tried to go and have conversations, I was met with lies that I knew were lies. So it's never going to be the same. So what's the point of having a conversation if you can't show up truly yourself? Because now if you feel so comfortable to lie to me and I'm asking you direct questions, then you're not ready for the relationship that I'm ready for, because I need honesty. I need transparency. I need to know that if you feel like I hurt you, there's two things. First of all, if you feel like I hurt you, one, over what things were about, the audacity. Then two, if you feel like if I hurt you, then you should have come and have a conversation with me, not everybody around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to share, oh, you're downgraded. It's known, it's felt. I know it's felt. We're just not the same.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes, though, when there is a space in communication, sometimes space can be misinterpreted. And that doesn't necessarily mean the relationship has been downgraded. It just means you're in a season of, whatever season you're in. But I feel like if it comes up and someone, wants to inquire about, okay, hey, I feel this way or something's different, then that warrants the conversation. You ask for it and you're going to get the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Now how you receive that, that's your business. But, look, in this stage of life, I try to walk away from things amicably, but sometimes being amicable is saying nothing at all and just allowing the season to end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. But I don't feel like everything after a while, to me, if you've been separated for a long time and not communicating, and trust me, you do know when you in my life, you know when you've been downgraded. I interact with people to some level every single day, and I have for over 20 years. So if you no longer get that interaction from me, you know that, okay, something's not right. And if you choose not to have that conversation, for me, it's just like, okay, you must feel the same way, or, you want to carry the relationship the same way. And I'm fine with carrying the relationship the same way. I don't give more energy than necessary to give. I don't have that kind of time, first of all, to be worried about someone else's long-term feelings about things. There were things that were done. There were things that were said. I'm fine with it. I've made peace with those things, and I've made workarounds for those relationships as I've downgraded them, and that's fine. And so for me, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm waiting on this conversation. I absolutely am not.
Mm-hmm.
And at this juncture, to want to have a conversation months, years down the road, I don't want to have the conversation. I don't need to have the conversation because this space let me know where I've stood.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, so if someone comes to you like a little bit later, because maybe they just thought it was just random space and they want to come talk to you about like, hey, I feel like we've been a little bit distant lately, and they're totally oblivious, like have no idea like what has happened. How do you bridge that conversation?
First of all, it would be very difficult for me to even take that shit seriously, because the way, just the reaction you're getting right now is the reaction that I would get. I would have to laugh because I'm like, you cannot be serious. Seriously asking me this question, because you know what, there are certain
what's going
things
on, like you've been missing, like what's happening, what's going on?
I think I feel the same way too. Like, what you mean? What? What that? You remember? You know that little meme? What?
it's like, absolutely. Why you are better off just coming and having a random ass conversation with me than asking me what's going on. We have not. So there are certain things that I don't deal in when it comes to my energy. I hate when people say, hey, stranger. Communication goes two ways. So just like, oh, I haven't heard from you in a long time. Well, was your fingers broke? Were you in a cast? I mean, were you in a coma? Because I was still existing. You're liking posts, but you don't call. So to me, if I am not, because it's not like I have phone calls with people every day. I don't have that kind of time unless I'm traveling. And then I try to reach out to people who I don't get a chance to talk to for a long time. But if you are like really, really in my inner circle and you just don't hear from me, and then I don't hear from you, sometimes it also makes me feel like, why am I the only one reaching out constantly? So those are things that I pay attention to. I'm not giving my energy to people who are not worth it or worthy to have it. So those conversations like, oh, you've been kind of distant. Yeah, you're damn right. Like, really, really.
And like, if he took you this long to notice.
I mean, I also think it depends on how much time has passed.
Yeah.
If communication with me stops and it's 6 months, it's a year, it's 2 years.
Dang.
But ma'am or sir, that season was over that period of time ago.
See, I'm silly. And so I'm already cracking up. Like, that's when I would crack up laughing first and foremost. But I think my initial response would be like, yeah, I broke up with you. You notice, like, I broke up with you. Because that's just who I am. Like, I'm saying it in a joking way, but I'm serious about that thing. I broke up with you.
I don't like explaining.
Well, why
things
you
to
break
grown
up
people.
with
That's
me?
obvious.
Well, this is why I broke up with you. Like I broke up with you. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, like I said, I don't like explaining things that's obvious to grown people. Like, come on. We
But
let's be
is
mature.
it obvious though? Is it really obvious? Because we can make some assumptions sometimes. We expect certain things for from people, and some people just don't know what they don't know, and it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And so this is why when we say things like, is it really obvious though? Because is
Yes.
this a repeat offender, or is this a first time act? Like, is this something that can be course corrected in conversation? Is it, like we said, is it a point in having the conversation, or are you a repeat offender and before I lay you out, I gotta let you go.
No,
You know?
let me tell you why. And here's the thing. If you make it in my inner circle and you are like a sister to me, you know me. You know how I show up. You literally know me because I can 100% relax and be myself around you. For example, I already know if I don't hear from Cortina for 3 months, it is nothing. That's Cortina. I'm not going to, there's no assumption that has to be made about a friend that I know because we are sisters.
Yeah.
But now let it go 12 months.
Oh no, that's
a little bit different because I'm like, oh no, we text all the time, every single day. And I tell you, I'm more shocked when she replies than when she does not.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's obvious. It's obvious when you've made it in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even more shocked sometimes when she calls me out the blue. I'm like, what the hell?
she'll be like, hey.
Because it's out of her norm, but that's what I'm saying. So if you are in that circle, you know exactly what you're dealing with. So obvious things are very obvious. This is why when we say check on your strong friends, it's because shit for us is obvious. I'm gonna give you a good example. I've been texting Diana for a couple of days and I just get a little heart. I'm like, okay, I called her, no phone call. This helper normally calls me back.
Y'all talk every day.
Exactly. Almost every single day. So when I didn't get a phone call back, and then I messaged this morning, and then she just, let us know she just needs some downtime because she's been moving and moving and moving. I'm like, I knew something. And I sidebarred her and I said, okay, I knew something was wrong because, ma'am, this is not you. I don't normally get this from you. And she was like, and I said, get some rest. I love you, blah, blah, blah. Because I know my friend. I know my sister. That's what we do. So to me, should be obvious. Should be real obvious. So when things are not obvious, then were you really in that inner circle? So now I got to start really questioning, okay, I need to evaluate even where I had you at in these places. If it wasn't obvious that there's something wrong. So course correct.
And I can't even read because I'm giving, you're gonna be in my thoughts and prayers. I'm touching like something going on with Shay.
Well, you know what though? It was right on time because I was having a moment. So and I receive it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just like, oh, I read that totally wrong. And so that's another thing. Sometimes through text, things can get lost in translation, the way that you're reading it, the way that you're interpreting something. So if someone texts you, if they're really your friend, I think it's necessary to pick up the phone so you can really get clarification. Don't end something when you haven't had a conversation at all, and we're just going based on what you thought you read. There are so many times when I thought I read something and it didn't feel as offensive when I wasn't mad anymore. Because when I was like red fire, I'm like, oh, I can't believe they said this. And then I read it. You know, when you calm down, you're like, what? I don't know why that just added extra fuel to the fire. You reading fast, you filtering it through those emotions that you already have. You're putting emphasis on the way you think they're trying to say it, and they're not even saying it that way. Now, sometimes they might be, but you got to make sure, okay, am I too deep into my feelings to be able to clearly see what it is that I'm reading, that they're saying, or anything? So if it was a relationship worth anything to you, have a conversation, a verbal one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, and my all of you ladies, like every woman in my tribe they are worthy of conversations.
Mhm.
And I feel like owed those conversations because of our closeness. Now, whatever may happen after that, we can choose to be mature and make decisions in terms of what we're able to get over, however we might feel. But those conversations are very important.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. I like my little inner circle. So my inner circle knows me. And I don't, and that's the other part, like where I'm at in my life now, I think I've healed from a lot of the things that were betrayals in the past. That's taught me a lot of lessons when it comes to discernment for my future. And for my present and going into my future. Again, I've often shared, like, I show up as a friend the way that I value friendship. I like my low maintenance friends. I don't like, and my one friend who is high maintenance that require conversations all the time. We talk all the time. But I know, but that's my friend, and that's how I know she's the only person. She being Diana is the only person that I feel like I can tolerate talking to every single day. Because it's just, I don't know, it's just something. And so I miss those conversations with her, and we don't talk every single day now, but we used to. But it's like taper back, but we talk so often throughout the week. The rest of us, we just chat. Like Shay, every now and again will call me. Normally Shay she be, she called me to vent more than she do. Girl, I gotta talk to you. But the tribe that I have now, I don't expect to have to heal alone if I feel any level of betrayal. I feel like the tribe that I have now, we have relationships that we know how to heal together and bridge whatever we in our mind conceptualized as betrayal, because I don't think it would be intentional as much as something that's like, oh, it's on purpose. I don't feel like that. Yeah, but healing takes a different level of maturity, I feel like. And because you have to be accountable and understand that a lot of things you were enabling. And that's how I feel like a lot of my betrayal that happened in the past, I enabled. And so I look at even the domestic violence relationships I was in, I was making excuses for. So me making excuses, I was enabling that behavior. I wasn't saying this was not good for me. So I had to hold myself accountable, because people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. But then also I realized, and I say this all the time, only you allow what hurts you to haunt you, and for how long. I realized I did not want to be held by my past hurt. I wanted to be freed. I wanted to be able to be open and just be me. And even my ex-husband, who was abusive, I have no malice for him either. If I saw him on the street, I'd be like, hey, how you doing? And it's happened even after our divorce, when I run into him one or two times, many years ago, but there's not been anything malicious. And people are like, how could you? Because I can't give energy to something that I'm over. When I'm over, it's over. And so healing for me is showing up for me in my truest authentic space, and not holding on to hurt or allowing other people to live in the ghost of that hurt. I did not want to have to do that. And that takes a lot of inner work.
Anytime you, like I said earlier, anytime you choose to stay after you've been offended, you've allowed yourself to accept anything can happen. You know, anything can happen. And so if you are equipped with enough of whatever you need to forgive the offense, then fine, so be it. Give yourself a real opportunity to forgive it, meaning go inward and heal from it. While as you walk through it, don't beat up on nobody. But if you know, you got to know yourself. You got
Yeah.
to know what you can get over, and you got to know what you can't get over. You have to know yourself, and you got to be honest about it. And don't try to negotiate with it, because you're always going to end up right back where it started. You were either
Yeah.
able to accept it or not. So, you know, anything after the offense is all on you. It's nobody else's fault but
Yeah.
yours. And no matter how harsh that sounds, you know, unfortunately, when you start, you know, when we talk about domestic violence, you know, there's sometimes I just have to be quiet about it, because when it comes to accountability, you have to really truly understand the root of you being a victim. Did you choose to stay after the first offense? And unfortunately, you have to look at it like that. It's sad. No one should go through things like that. But if you
Yeah.
chose, you.
Girl, let me tell you. But you know what? So here's the thing, and I've talked about this in my book. Ultimate betrayal in a relationship, like especially in marriage, even before you go to marriage, it's important to show up and be honest with your partner. My ex-husband, he told me he had never been married. He told me he didn't have kids. 7 months into our marriage, I found out I was wife number 2. He was divorced for cruel and inhumane treatment, and he had knew about a child that he had and was paying child support. And we dated a whole year and a half, and you would have never seen it. But he also ridiculed me for having been married previously and all of those things. And when I found them because I had them put out of housing and they were in a safe. That's how I found out. And you know what stupid me did? I still stayed because I was in Germany. My car was being shipped over and I made all kinds of excuses for it. And so that's why I had to hold myself accountable for everything. And so I'm not going to say I have regrets, but I wish I would have paid more attention to things. And I wish I would have left sooner than before I was actually going to take his life. But you know, God gave me an angel. He sent me an angel. So, but I think, you know, the ultimate betrayal was in that marriage, from cheating, domestic violence, abuse. It was always something. And when I left, that's when I realized I had to heal beyond this relationship here. I had to heal from all the other things that led me to still be in a relationship like this.
Mhm.
And that
I
takes
think it's so important to always reflect on the season you're in when you're making decisions about relationships also, because when we can be in a season of being just really vulnerable, and you could be open to just accepting some things that you wouldn't normally accept. You know what I mean? And then you got your seasons where you're walking tall and you're strong and you're giving off big girl energy, and ain't nobody messing with you, like they're too intimidated because they know you're standing on business. And so I think it's super important to also, what did they call it? Trauma bonding. When you're vulnerable, you find yourself being open to trauma bonding with people. And then once you've healed and these people are still stuck in their hurt, they're offended that you moving on and they're still back there where you left them. And now you're the bad guy, Everybody needs a villain in the story, unfortunately. But, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
It is a lot. But on the opposite side of that, healing is so rewarding. Healing is so rewarding. Letting go is so rewarding. Shedding is so rewarding. So sometimes you have to shed certain relationships after betrayal. You have to. If it's the hard part. Like, Cortina, let me ask you this: what about when it's immediate family, like moms, dads, sisters, brothers? Is that betrayal harder to sever?
In some instances, it really depends on how you grew up too. There are some people that grow up in the same house, but they're still estranged. So breaking up from that relationship, all they know kind of is chaos, and we don't talk, and we don't talk even when we're in the same house. I know someone who lived in the house with their brother and they don't speak, like not at all. If someone is there at the house for her, he won't even go tell her somebody is here for you. Like, no conversation. So I think it really just depends on historically what that relationship looked like. But in the grand scheme of things, sometimes it can be very difficult, because what happens when you got to take care of mama, or when you got to, doctor's appointments, like when your brothers and sisters calling on you, okay, mom need this, okay, we got to come together, or, your sibling, something is happening, like, dang, this is a person I knew since birth, or since their birth. Like, we weren't always like this. And sometimes it's about going back to the pivotal point where there was a break in the relationship. Sometimes you have to revisit that to say, okay, where I am in my life right now, in the mindset that I'm in, the way that we ended things, was there a better way to do that? And if so, are you willing to see if a repair can be made? Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes it's like, you know what? Life is too short. It wasn't anything that I can't ever forgive you for. Really looking back, maybe a lot of stuff was going on in my life. I just couldn't take it. It was easier just for me to cut it off so I can worry about my own stuff in my own life. And then time caused us to not even talk, and time got in the way. Looking back, I don't even know how we veered off and went separate ways. Don't know. When it's situations like that where there's no origin, no point of reference for how we ended up that way, again, that's another situation where I think there needs to be a conversation. And ego can't be a part of it. Well, they ain't never called me. Well, we don't know what happened because so much time has taken place now. But can you be the bigger person to make the effort to extend? After you extend, you ain't got to beg nobody. But if they don't want to be a part, they don't want to be a part. But at least you can sweep your side of the porch and say, I tried. I attempted. So when I die, I'm not living with any regrets or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's how I see that.
Shay, did you want to say something before we end this episode? Can't believe time like this.
That parent thing hits different. I love talking about the relationship with my mom and I. I spent so many years being angry and not talking to her because of a lack of understanding. I can't, dictate how you're my mama. Who am I to tell you how to journey your life? You know what I mean? And you did the best that you could with what you had. And so it's so important to really dissect that parent wound. Because a lot of that has extreme influence on how you do navigate relationships with other people, whether it's in your professional work setting or, just meeting friends. And that goes with both men and women. And so that parent wound is deep. That is sometimes the root to everything thereafter in your relationships. And so until you unpack it, or until you put yourself in a position to want to really truly understand what it is that you need to be in relationships with people, because sometimes your character is raggedy and the relationships are failing because you are the problem. But are you really truly allowing yourself to see you in the relationship so that you can be better and you can attach yourself to better types of friend groups and learn how to be a better friend? Maybe you the one who need to learn how to be a friend. So anyway, yeah, that's all I had.
Okay. Well, this has been a really great conversation. Yeah, it's just always good. And I'm hoping that everybody who joined us and played back enjoys this conversation. Shay, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at The Coach of Courage and www.thecoachofcourage.com.
And Dr. Lewis.
You can call me. You can find me at The Girlfriend Therapist on all social media platforms. That's where you can find me. And the Noir Center, NOIR Center for Intuitive Healing and Counseling on social media as well.
See, they can call you for therapy.
They can. Oh, yeah, you can.
Call you for therapy.
Absolutely.
You can reach me on all social media platforms at IAMDRPGURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley, and this is the Herspiration Happy Hour. You can, of course, follow us on the YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can go back and play back all of the episodes, 8 seasons now. So, of course, we will be back same time, same place next week. New conversation. And until then, have a really great rest of your week and week ahead. And cheers, like we always say.
Cheers.
This is Herspiration Happy Hour.